So you want to play guitar? Well, I told you I'd make you a video explaining the guitar, a little bit about playing the guitar, a little bit about maintaining the guitar, and a little bit about possibly repairing the guitar, and a bit about the guitar itself. We have here 3 different types of guitars. The most common types of guitars, and most likely one of these is what you're going to play as your first guitar, or play as your guitar, whatever. We have the 3 different guitars: the nylon with nylon string guitar, the steel string acoustic guitar, and the electric guitar with, of course, electric strings. These are both metal strings, but they are different than each other. Okay, as guitars all have commonalities. Of course, guitars have a headstock. The head, or the headstock, with tuners on the headstock to tune your guitar. Below that, we have the nut. The nut of the guitar keeps your guitar strings spaced, and it also adjusts the height, the distance they are from the fretboard, which is on the neck of the guitar, the next part of the guitar. We have the neck with the fretboard on it. As you can see, the fretboard here has frets and fret wires. The frets are the spaces, the fret wires divide the spaces and make it possible for us to play notes and chords and therefore songs. We come down the neck of the guitar and we meet the body of the guitar at the shoulder. And in the shoulder we come down to the waist and the lower bout, the widest part of the guitar. On the top of the guitar, this piece of wood is generally called the soundboard. And the hole in it, of course, would be called the sound hole. And generally around sound holes is a rosette, which has its purpose as well. Then we come down. Now the soundboard, generally, there's a couple common woods that are used more so than others. Maybe spruce and cedar are quite popular. There's plenty of other woods that make up guitars as well, or guitars are made out of. Some guitars are made of the whole body, sides and back are made out of the same wood. And a lot of guitars, the top is a different wood than the sides and back. But you'll find all kinds of variations out there. Then we come down to where we have the bridge. And the bridge on these guitars, this little white thing, is called the saddle. The saddle is there to terminate the strings, to dictate the length of the string from the nut to the saddle. This distance would be called the scale length, because these all guitars come in different sizes and shapes. So therefore you find one that'll fit your needs and feel you'll be comfortable with to play with. Now this type of guitar has what is called a tie bridge, a knot bridge. You tie a knot. I lost my head there, man. Sorry, folks. Where you tie the strings on the end. We'll get to that later. These are tied together like this, so there are no loose ends. Because you're playing with your hand down here, and if you have loose ends, you hit it with your hand, it doesn't feel good. All right. Now, generally, the classical Spanish guitar is played sitting down. I have a strap on it because I like to play the room. Well, thank you very much. Would you like another drink? Another song? Anyway. So generally these guitars don't have strap buttons on them. Some, however, have one strap button on the bottom for your strap, of course. This one has a strap button here as well. But for an example purpose, I tied this strap with string and tied it to the neck, so you can see there's a way to put a strap on without the strap button up here. Now this guitar is generally the most recommended for your first guitar because it's got nylon strings. It's easier to play. You don't have to push down as hard. Doesn't hurt the fingers as much. It's not as loud to disturb others. And it's not as large as some of the others. Of course, these come in different sizes. This isn't, I don't think it's a full size, but I don't know. But anyway, these guitars are generally played with your fingers, picking style. Some people just play with their fingers. Some people grow out their fingernails on this hand, so then they can, as opposed to skin, fingernail. On this hand, of course, you want short fingernails because you're going to be pushing onto the wood. So this guitar is quiet and soft. We're going to play a little ditty on each of these guitars, the same ditty. Now we're going to play it with a little picking style. No, I don't play that fancy Spanish picking because I haven't got there yet. But I pick so you can hear the... Sweet, the sound of the classical nylon Spanish guitar. These, I don't know if I told you, they have the tuning keys 3 and 3. This is called 3 and 3, 3 on each side. This is a slotted headstock, so the strings tie inside on these little white things. So these type of guitars need nylon strings. It's your best bet. Now, this is a 3 on 3 because there's 3 on each side. A lot of these come as a 2-piece unit, 1 for each side. But that's what tunes your guitar on a classical guitar. Which brings us to the steel string guitar. The acoustic guitar. Some people just call it the acoustic guitar. This one is also an acoustic guitar, but it is generally called the Nylon Classical Spanish. This one is called the acoustic guitar. Some people call it the folk guitar. Folk, that's for you folks. Folks. And some people call it the cowboy guitar. So we're going to learn a little bit about the cowboy guitar, a little bit about cowboy chords, a little bit about cowboy music, and a little bit of cowboy dancing. Yeehaw! Anyway, the cowboy guitar. This body style is called a dreadnought. Why? Because during the Great War, there were these big battleships called the dreadnought. And when this guitar came out, it was so big that somehow it got the nickname dreadnought, and it's stuck. So it's called a dreadnought guitar. What do you mean dreadnought? It means when the big battleships come in, you have no worries, nothing to worry, nothing to dread. Dreadnought. Now this guitar has a plain, squarish type headstock. Once again, it has 3 tuners on each side, but as you can see, they're individual tuners, whereas the other guitar had sets of 3. It has the same nut, fingerboard, neck, body, bridge. A lot of these guitars, some of these guitars have what is called a solid top. This piece of wood is like a slab of wood, one piece of wood. They also make laminate guitars, which is similar to plywood, where they cut the wood really thin and they put the grain going this way, then the next layer the grain goes this way, then the next layer the grain goes this way, and then again that way. Why? Because it is a cost-effective way to make a guitar, and they are in many ways stronger and more durable than a one-piece guitar, less susceptible to cracking and warping. And sound-wise, some laminate guitars sound really good and others don't. Whereas solid top guitars, some of them sound really good and some of them don't. Each guitar is different. You must find the one that you like, that feels good to you and sounds good to you. So this dreadnought guitar has bridge pins, they're called. These pins hold the strings in place inside the guitar. The strings go in the hole, you pull the pin out, the strings go in the hole, you put the pin back, and you bring it up here, which we'll get into when we get into changing strings on your guitars. This one has a strap button here and a strap button here. Of course, you can do this if you wanted. Sometimes I like to do that because it frees up, it has a different tension on your shoulder. Sometimes standing with a strap for a long time can be a little heavy on your shoulder. So we're going to play the same ditty on the dreadnought. Oh, by the way, the dreadnought, the acoustic guitar, is generally played with a pick. Therefore, we have what is called a pick guard. So when you're strumming with the pick, if your pick hits here, it doesn't damage the wood. It's a protector. Yes. So this guitar is played with a pick, generally. You can play with your fingers, but you can see the spacing, the neck is narrower and it's a little bit tighter. And of course, it's a longer neck, so you'd have a different scale length. So here we go with our same little ditty with a pick on the acoustic guitar. And then we get in, that was the strumming. Now we're going to pick it. Once again, a nice soft sound. You can play it hard and loud, you can play it soft and sweet. Now one thing I didn't mention, when you're going to get a guitar, you're going to look at it and you're not going to know what's what. One thing you want to look at on your guitar is what is called the action. Some guitars have more adjustments on the action than others. But with the action is what I'm saying, what I'm talking about, is the distance of the strings from the fretboard. If the strings are close to the fretboard, you don't have to push down as hard or as far, so your fingers don't hurt as much. The way you like to have your guitar set up is up to you. Some people like higher, some people like lower, and some people like it in the middle. It's up to you. It's your guitar, and you're going to play it the way you want to play it, and you're going to feel good about it. Thank you very much. That's the acoustic cowboy guitar. Which brings us to the electric guitar. The electric guitar is probably your most versatile guitar. This is probably the most common. This is the most recommended for your beginning guitar. The electric guitar can be played soft and sweet. It can be played loud and punchy and crunchy. It can be played, all these different sounds can come out of the guitar. The similarities are the same. Of course, it has a headstock. This has got 6 tuners on one side, which is called inline tuners. And you can see, if you can see here, they're all the same. So your guitar might have left-handed or right-handed tuners. This one has got a brass nut. These have, this one's got a bone nut. This one's got a hard plastic nut. You're going to get a slightly different sound, not a whole lot of different sound with a different material nut, but a little bit. Generally, you don't want the soft plastic nut. You want a harder one to get the better sound out of it. Now this guitar comes down the fretboard. This is a one-piece neck. This doesn't have a separate fretboard. It has, the fretboard is part of the neck itself, whereas the fretboard is glued on. Now we come down to the body of the guitar. This guitar, again, is generally played with a pick. So we have what is called a pick guard. This is sometimes called the Buddy Holly guitar. Buddy Holly played a guitar like this, which is a Stratocaster, Fender Stratocaster style. We come down to the pick guard in the body. We have pickups, electric pickups, which are similar to a microphone. They take the sound of the strings and amplify it through an amplifier. I don't know if you can see my amplifier over there or not. Bring it over here a little bit, maybe you can see it. So we have 3 pickups. The pickups vary on all different electric guitars. There are a million different electric guitars and variations. They have pickups, they have a bridge. This one is an adjustable bridge. It's maybe not the best one in the world, but it works. And these electric guitars come with volume knobs, tone knobs, and sometimes switches to pick your pickups and get different sounds out of your guitar. So let's go electric. I'm playing with my fingers at the moment. Like I said, this is generally a pick guitar, but it's up to you to play it as you want. Sweet, so you can play it soft. Probably would have been a good idea to tune my guitars up before I started playing, but we'll get into that later. Wow, fancy. So there's your 3 basic guitars. You go out now and you can look around and you have a little bit of an idea what you may be looking for and what you might feel is right for you. Remember, it's your choice. Don't let somebody tell you what guitar you should play, which they may be right, but if you get a guitar that you like, you're probably going to play it more. If you want to get good, you have to play it more. So that's it for video 1 on the guitar. And we're going to get into video 2 later. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Jeff, and we're on with the guitar. I'll thank you. I'll thank you. I'll thank you very much.